Hey there, rockers. Back with another tale, man. I've gotten quite a few people to ask me about telling stories about my own past with my own bands, and tonight I'm going to honor that request with a story about how Bloody Mess and the Skabs began. Yep, it's history, my friends, and I'm here to share it with you. Shout out to Ted Malotek, aka Ugly Ted, aka Frustrate Ted, from the original Bloody Mess and the Skabs band as our bass player. He gave me some information to help me put a few things together, and I appreciate that, Ted. Anyway, so we're going to go back to the year 1987. I was living in Peoria, Illinois. I played my last show with the band Bloody Mess and Hate, a band that had gone through many lineup changes and was sort of a joke band, but really fun and started to kind of gather a little bit of a following. We opened up for Naked Raygun at Illinois Central College, and about a week later, I relocated to Greeley, Colorado. Greeley, Colorado is kind of like a place that everybody made fun of in Colorado, about halfway between Boulder and Denver. That lasted about 6 or 7 months, and then I came back to Illinois, and that was the first official time that I retired from punk rock. One of about 5. Hey man, what are you gonna do? I'm a moody son of a biscuit. But anyway, I get back from Greeley, Colorado, and I'm kind of full of piss and vinegar, man. I'm like, I want to start a really chaotic punk rock band and raise a little hell. It's, again, 1987 at this point. I'm living with a girlfriend of mine named Angel, and I decided I want to start this band. So in early 88, a friend of mine, Kevin Brashear, comes over to my apartment, or our apartment, and brings a guy named Mike Gabbert along, who is supposedly a drummer. And I'm like, cool. So I've finally met a drummer, and we're going to see what happens. Turns out he had been jamming with a couple of guys that were bikers. Yeah. One guy on guitar named Bill Caldell, who we called X, and a bass player named Bill Hill, who was nicknamed the Legendary H. Yep, X and the Legendary H. And these guys, as a 3-piece, had been jamming. And they had some songs like Chemical Dependent and some other jams. And then we started jamming with me on vocals over on Garfield Street in Peoria, Illinois. Like I say, early 80s. And we came up with a song while we were jamming called Biker Punks from Hell. And I started developing an idea about this band that I wanted to sort of put together that was sort of a shock rock kind of concept with also an I don't really give a damn about the music kind of concept. So Mike Gabbert became Gabby Skab. We ended up meeting Ugly Ted, aka Ted Malotek, because a friend of mine, Eric Doran, brought him into Co-op Tapes and Records, which was located on Main Street in Peoria, Illinois. And I saw him wearing a leather jacket and he had a mohawk. I thought, perfect, because the Legendary H did not want to do shows live, and either did Bill Caldell, the guitarist. So myself and Gabby Skab, get to the Skabs thing in a minute here, the name. But we decided to go ahead and put a band together without those guys, and we kept jamming with X and the Legendary H and coming up with some originals and stuff until we could find the right guys to put this band together, right? This punk rock band we were going to throw together. Which, by the way, the band lasted 8 years. And went through 32 different band members, including drummers, bass players, guitar players. That's another story. So me and Gabby are putting together the Skabs, and we meet Ted at Co-op Tapes and Records. He's a punk rocker. He says he plays bass. We invite him over to play with us. He comes over to jam. It turned out it was great. We had a new punk rock friend. He was a little bit younger than us, but we all liked him, and he liked us. We were all kind of rowdy. We were all drinking and smoking and partying, and it was just a carefree time, and we were all just like, had a little punk rock scene we were building. Then, of course, Angel's brother, Chris Chandler, a.k.a. Fish, he later became the guitar player for the band Taxi War Dance in Central Illinois. Fish was the original guitar player for Bloody Mess and the Skabs. So once we jammed together with him, Gabby, myself, and Ugly Ted, we realized we had chemistry. Because Fish was more into traditional guitar, like classic rock and metal guitar sounds. Ted was definitely punk rock. I was rock and roll, metal, punk, whatever, and Gabby kind of came from a background of like classic rock. So we ended up doing a lot of stuff. I'm going to take this time to show you guys my discography with Bloody Mess and the Skabs, because a lot of people are asking about, what's your discography? Here's the first single we did, which came out, it was recorded January 1989. This came out on Mephisto Records, and label out of New Jersey / New York City. And let me tell you, man, I'm going to do a whole story about this 7-inch because of the artwork on it. It's a whole very controversial subject. This came out again 1989 on Mephisto Records. Then we got signed with Black and Blue Records out of Rhode Island, and our second single came out in 1992, a 7-inch here called Empty. Yeah, a song that I don't perform anymore live, but all the way up until 4 years ago, this song was always the song we usually closed most shows with in all the bands I've been in. We also got signed to a label out of Germany in 1993, I believe, and this came out on the No Risk, No Fun Records label out of Germany. Side A is live in Nashville, Tennessee. The other side is live in Peoria, Illinois. This is the last single from Bloody Mess and the Skabs, A Dog Biscuit for Sick Puppies. And this came out on Black and Blue Records. It was actually released after the band kind of broke up. I believe this thing came out in 95. If not, it could have been 94. But we were broken up when it finally got in my hands, because the Skabs did break up in 1994 while on stage in Wilmington, Delaware. That's another story for another video as well. The Skabs and I also did 2 albums together. Of course, the notorious 6th Grade Field Trip album here on vinyl. Also the CD version, which is released as a double CD with the band North Winds from New Jersey. And of course, we have the cassette tape version as well. Remember cassette tapes? Well, here's one. Yeah, also, of course, the band released our second album, Hungover and Stoned. Yep. That's Hungover and Stoned. That came out on Black and Blue Records around I want to say 93, 94. 93. And this is on cassette tape as well. Yeah. Hungover and Stoned. I got to say, out of the 2 albums the Skabs and I did together, this is my favorite. This was made up of many different recording sessions with a lot of different players, maybe 4 different sessions. And I got to give credit to the song that's the title of the album to Jeff Gregory, who was an awesome musician who played in different incarnations of the band. And he is the official co-writer of Hungover and Stoned with me. So thank you, Jeff, and other songs on this fine album. And, of course, on this album right here, too, rest in peace to Ty Smith, who played most of the drums on it. We also had a guy named Thumper, a.k.a. Jonathan, who played 3 on the 3 songs, and Gabby is on the last track of 6th Grade Field Trip as well. We also did some compilations. Black and Blue Records released Music to Make Your Ears Hurt on vinyl. We've got a track on this bad boy, along with Gigi Allen and other people. And, of course, Music to Make Your Ears Hurt 2, which I actually put together for Black and Blue Records by handpicking 90% of the bands on this bad boy. And, of course, those also came out on CD. Music to Make Your Ears Hurt 1, 2, and, of course, Trey. And, yeah, these all came out on Black and Blue Records. This thing is awesome because it's got recordings from 1096, Beautiful Bert, Lisa Leathers. Really good stuff, man. Also, some of the Skabs, Bloody Mess and the Skabs music was recorded and covered on this album, which is called Bloody and the Bastard Children, a tribute to Bloody Mess. Many fine songs recorded by many good bands by the Skabs on there as well. What else, guys? Also, Punks in Peoria came out of Peoria, Illinois on vinyl and CD. And this has 1 track by Bloody Mess and the Skabs, the song called Empty. My friends, also, there is a Gigi Allen album where we have a song on here called Murder Groupies, which was later changed to Cheerleader for Death as the title. Again, that was co-written by Jeff Gregory as well. There's also a book called Punks in Peoria that has my own chapter in it called Public Enemy Number 1. And that book also features many tales of Bloody Mess and the Skabs. And there's a book also Boy, I was going to grab that book earlier and I forgot to have it in my hands. But it's about the Rockford, Illinois punk scene, and the Skabs actually made one of the pages in that book as well. And I've seen a couple other books out there like Salad Days and a couple others that the Skabs are mentioned in that I do not have copies of any longer, my friends. But I will say, my brand new album, Bloody F Mess, Dark Days Unfazed, features collaborations with me and members of the Germs, the Plasmatics, Fang, and so many other amazing artists like Jordan Longmire, Lisa Leathers, Jim Neversing, Ideal Vice, Sammy Town from Fang, just so many amazing people, and the great Dave Moe, who contributed 7 songs, man, 7 to this album. Amazing. And of course, Alex Moore's on here. Just some great people, man, including Sister Tracy, Bill Meisner from Bloody Mess and the Skabs, the co-writer of the song Empty with me. He's on this album on some tracks. And Lydia Paeski, my good friend. So, my friends, if you are interested in Dark Days Unfazed, you can get the information for my email in the description area of this video. On to the tale. So, Bloody Mess and the Skabs is now formed. Gabby Skab on drums, myself on vocals, Fish on guitar, and Ugly Ted on the bass guitar. The band puts out our first single. The band ends up getting international and national notoriety because of the artwork of our first record that came out, and it just blew up. And that'll be another story later, but it landed me on several national TV shows in the year 1994, and the band gained, like I say, national notoriety, not necessarily for the music. Let me tell you something. Bloody Mess and the Skabs was not a band that was put together to make good music. I'm not going to say the band didn't make some good music, because we did in different incarnations. Some of it's okay. The live shows were a little bit less than desirable at times, a lot of times because of intoxication on my part. I just didn't give a damn, and neither did the drummer. We were kind of a tag team at the time, like a wrestling act gone mad on tequila and other substances. And you know what, man? No regrets on my part, because you live and learn, right? I do. But I've got so many stories about Bloody Mess and the Skabs that I want to tell you guys, but I'm going to make them one video at a time. This is just the introduction, the tame introduction, because that band kind of went down like a flag on fire. Yeah, man, we got stories out the ass from Bloody Mess and the Skabs. God, where do I begin? We played gigs in Wisconsin, and I've got stories from Wisconsin that are crazy. Nashville, crazy tale from there. Wilmington, Delaware, New York City, Pennsylvania, just all over the country this band played, and everywhere we went. Our goal was to be never to be asked back again, and to never have to play that place again. We wanted to be banned, I'm telling you. It sounds like the stuff of legend, but it's true. We were pretty notorious. We ended up in many newspapers across the country, and I had a lot of that stuff to prove it. But when I get back to you guys with some of these tales, I'm going to bring some of these newspaper articles that I do have out to just show on the screen, to show how many we kind of got into. And I'm lucky I have some of that stuff saved still from the Alameda fires of 2020. I wish you guys would subscribe to this channel, if you could take a second to do that. Also, my other channel is called The Church of Rock, all one word, The Church of Rock. It's got all my music archives, 25 years of radio interviews with me interviewing people from Wendy O. Williams to Cheetah Chrome of the Dead Boys to Ron Ashton of the Stooges to just tons of metal people and rock and roll people. And all my personal music's on there. The Church of Rock, one word. Please subscribe there and here. Please leave a comment, like the video, and maybe share if you feel so inclined. Let's see, any last words about Bloody Mess and the Skabs? We're just not the kind of band that was the life of the party. We were definitely the death of the party. And some of the shows were really fun and just genius and rock and roll. Some were extremely chaotic. A lot of them were violent. There was a lot of stuff that happened around that band, and a lot of people that were connected to that band in so many different ways. Here's something I want to throw out before I sign off. This is a curveball, and I can't think of any other YouTuber that's done this one. If you are an adversary of mine, or maybe somebody I've had a beef with, or you've had a beef with me, and you still are holding on to it, reach out to me, man. Let's do a Skype interview, unedited, no talking before we do the interview whatsoever, and let's hash it out or talk it out or get to the bottom line of what happened and what's going on a Skype, and I will put it on my channel, and we'll just let people judge for themselves. You know, I can definitely say I've been, you know, and could be convicted of assholism on certain occasions in my life, but when you have a 30-year battle with the bottle, you know, and everyone that sees you every Saturday night for decades when you're completely hammered, they're going to tend to think you're kind of crazy. But a lot of people never saw me on the other 6 days of the week when I was a father and a son and working regular jobs throughout my life to keep myself supported. And then there was those times where I was dumpster diving and living in places with cockroaches and rats. And I'm not kidding you, I've got tales for days, man. And I cannot wait to get to some of those. I'm chomping at the bit, but I want to get more subscribers. So help me out, man. Share these videos, and thanks so much, you guys, for taking the time. And why am I always doing videos at like 3 in the morning? You know, I'm almost 60 years old. I'm 58. And I just don't feel it, man. I just can't come to grips with it, you know. It's the way it is, man. But thanks for being here, you guys. I appreciate all the killer comments, email, support. And I do have merch and stuff, so hit me up on the email in the description. And I'm going to quit talking now. Rock and roll. Stay real, and thanks for listening.